Big news is coming out of Philadelphia. And for Eagles fans, it's the kind of update that makes your heart race. One of the team's rising stars, who many thought might miss serious time, is suddenly way ahead of schedule in his recovery. But here's the twist. This unexpected comeback could shake up the plans for rookie Campbell. And there's already a veteran stepping up to fill the gap. So what does this mean for OTAs next week? Let's break it down. Eagles OTAs are just around the corner, and the excitement is real. From a brand new offensive game plan built around the pass to year 2 of breakout rookies like Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, there's no shortage of headlines to follow. Fans are pumped to see what this team will look like on the field. But while everyone's watching who shows up and who looks sharp, there's a bigger story developing with the guys who won't be practicing. First up is rookie linebacker Campbell. Now, the Eagles used a valuable pick on this kid because of his speed, instincts, and toughness, but we still don't really know where he's at in his rehab. He's recovering from injuries to both his knee and shoulder, and so far, the Eagles have kept things quiet. There's a chance he could do some light work next week, and even that would be huge. But let's be honest, as a rookie, there's no rush. Just like Nakobe last year, Campbell might take a more patient route and wait until he's fully healthy before making his debut. That's smart. That's long-term thinking. Now here's where it gets interesting. While Campbell might be on the sidelines, Nakobe is turning heads with how quickly he's coming back from what most doctors call a very serious injury. Dean tore his patellar tendon, that's the big one in your knee, during the Eagles' wild-card win over Green Bay. It's only been about 4 months since that injury, and usually that kind of tear takes 6 to 14 months just to get back to running, let alone playing football. But according to a new report out of Philly, Dean is already ahead of schedule. Way ahead. Some medical experts were worried this injury could change a player's entire game, slow them down, mess with their cutting and jumping. But Dean, he's pushing through. He's working. He wants that starting job. He's not waiting for someone to hand it to him. So here's the big question. If Dean is ready to go, what happens to Campbell? Do the Eagles play it safe? Or do they try to fast-track the rookie into the mix? And what does this mean for the linebacker battle heading into training camp? I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. On a scale from 1 to 10, how confident are you in Nakobe leading this defense? And what's your gut feeling on Campbell, future star or another injury risk? Let's talk about it. Let's be honest, most Eagles fans had pretty much accepted it. Nakobe got hurt back in January, and we all figured, okay, maybe he'll be back mid-season if we're lucky. That's just what the math told us. You tear a patellar tendon? That's a 6 to 12-month injury, sometimes even longer. So best case scenario, maybe late September. Worst case, he misses most of the year. But now, that whole timeline might be out the window, because Dean is moving like a guy who's ready to go right now. Just a few days ago, fans spotted something wild. Nakobe out at the Eagles Autism Foundation bike race. Without a brace, that's right, no big support wrapped around his leg, no signs of limping, just walking around like a normal guy. And that was only 4 months after surgery. Then, the very next day, the Eagles posted a fun video on Twitter. The team was goofing around, playing basketball together, bonding, laughing, building chemistry. And right there in the mix was Dean again, moving freely and even jumping around in celebration after nailing a backwards half-court shot. No brace, no limp, just pure energy. You don't do that unless you're feeling good, really good. But wait, it gets even better. NBC 10 in Philly ran a story that really opened some eyes. Apparently, Nakobe has added something wild to his recovery routine. Ballet-style movement training. Yup, you heard that right. He's not doing pirouettes in tights, but he's working with a coach who has experience training ballet dancers to increase mobility, flexibility, and joint strength, especially in the knees, ankles, and hips. This kind of training isn't easy. It's advanced. It's all about balance, control, and muscle coordination. And the fact that Dean is doing this just 4 months after major knee surgery, that's next-level dedication. The dude is doing deep stretching, balance work, mobility drills, everything to make sure that when he returns, he's not just healthy, he's better than before. Let's do the math again. The injury happened in January. If he keeps progressing at this pace, 6 months of recovery would land him at the end of July. That's right around training camp, and that puts Week 1 back in play. It's early, there's still work to do. But this comeback story is picking up steam. And if Dean is back at full strength by Week 1, it changes everything for this defense. What do you think, Eagles Nation? Is Nakobe Dean about to shock the NFL with a comeback for the ages? Do you want him starting Week 1, or should the team still play it safe? Drop your thoughts below, and if you got a prediction for Dean's season, leave it in the comments. Let's get the debate going. All right, here's the big question that every Eagles fan should be thinking about right now. What happens if Nakobe Dean isn't ready by day 1 of training camp, or even Week 1 of the regular season? Now, based on everything we've seen, the no-brace videos, the ballet-style training, the energy, the reports, it looks like Dean is pushing hard to be back. But let's be real, nothing is guaranteed. The team has to prepare just in case he's not fully ready to go. So, who steps up in his place? Right now, the linebacker room in Philly is looking thin. Behind Zach Bond, who's expected to start, the next man up might be none other than Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Yes, the son of the Eagles legend himself. Now listen, I like Trotter Jr. a lot. He's only in his second year, but he plays with a chip on his shoulder. He's aggressive, fast, and he's been learning fast. But he's young, he's still developing, and if the Eagles have to roll him out there as a starter at OTAs, training camp, or even Week 1, some fans are going to worry. They're going to say this could be the weakest link in a loaded defense. And that's why the Dean update means everything. If Nakobe Dean is healthy and ready by the time the pads come on, that completely changes the Eagles' defense. He brings leadership, he brings speed, he brings confidence. And with Dean and Bond starting together, the linebacker room goes from a concern to a strength. But if he's not ready, the pressure is going to fall fast and hard on Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and rookie Smail Mondon Jr., who also has a ton of potential, but is still very raw. The good news? Dean might actually be on track to return earlier than expected, and that could save this unit from falling behind when the season begins. Now here's something cool. Next week, I'm actually going to be hanging out with Nakobe Dean in person at the Philly Dogs ice cream party at the NovaCare Complex. It's going to be a fun event, and yes, I will be asking Dean about his rehab, his recovery, and whether he expects to be out there on the field soon. I've already confirmed that one of our subscribers, shout out to JD, claimed the prize and will be joining us. And don't worry, there are more giveaways coming soon. But what I'm most excited about, getting direct information from Dean himself. If he gives us a sneak peek on his return timeline, you better believe I'll share it right here first. So let's wrap it up like this. OTAs are almost here. The linebacker room is the biggest storyline heading into next week. Will Dean be back? Will Trotter Jr. hold up under pressure? Will rookie Smail Mondon shine? There's so much we're about to find out, and it all starts now. So here's the question. If Nakobe Dean can't start Week 1, do you trust Jeremiah Trotter Jr. to take over? Or should the Eagles make a move for a veteran? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Rank your confidence in this linebacker group from 1 to 10. Let's get this conversation going. It's about to be a wild summer in Philly. Let's take a moment and dream a little, Eagles fans. We've been talking about this ever since draft night, and honestly, we can't stop thinking about it. Just imagine the kind of creative, dangerous defense Vic Fangio can build with Jihad Campbell and Zach Bond both healthy and flying around the field. The possibilities are wild. You give a defensive mastermind like Fangio 2 athletic, explosive linebackers who can blitz, drop in coverage, or chase down quarterbacks from sideline to sideline. Yeah, that's a problem for every offense in the league. We've already seen what Fangio can do with playmakers in the past. And now, he's got a young, hungry group with a high ceiling. All we need is health. That's it. Get these guys back on the field. And buckle up. Let's be bold here. I know it sounds crazy to say in May, but I truly believe this. It would not surprise me at all if by the time we get to November or December, we're talking about the Eagles as the #1 defense in the entire NFL. Yeah, it's going to be tough. We all know that. But this team has the foundation, the core, to make it happen. You've got Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, two of the best young defensive backs in the league. Andrew Mukuba, who already looks like a straight-up ball hawk at safety. And if Kelly Ringo can step up and lock down the other side of the field, That's a complete secondary. That's a no-fly zone. They're asking a lot from young guys. But Philly's done this before. We've seen young defenders rise fast under the right coach. And with Fangio pulling the strings, there's real reason to believe. That's why OTAs next week are going to be so important to watch. Not just for who's out there running drills, but for who isn't. Right now, it doesn't sound like Jihad Campbell is going to participate much, if at all. His knee and shoulder are still in rehab mode. He's likely to be standing on the sidelines, not taking reps, but even a small update, like Campbell doing some light work on the side, or taking part in one-on-one drills. That would be huge news. That would tell us he's on track. That would show real progress. Meanwhile, Nakobe Dean continues to surprise everyone. Last week at the Eagles Autism Challenge, Anthony Diona confirmed it. Dean was out there, no knee brace. That's a major development. People were saying this was going to be an 8 to 9 month injury, but Dean, he's ahead of schedule, and that's what gives this entire defense hope. So here's the bottom line. If Jihad Campbell and Nakobe Dean both get back to full strength by the time the season kicks off, the Eagles defense isn't just good. It could be terrifying. Young, fast, smart, aggressive, and run by one of the best defensive minds in football and OTAs. They're our first real look at how close this group is to becoming something special. Let's hear it, Eagles fans. How confident are you in this defense heading into OTAs? Drop your answer below, 1 through 10, and tell me which player you think is going to break out this year. The countdown to the season starts now. Don't blink. Let's be real here. Everything we're hearing right now suggests that Jihad Campbell probably won't be ready by week 1. And that stings, because if either he or Nakobe Dean can suit up for that season opener, it completely changes how we feel about this defense. Dean's already trending ahead of schedule, but with Campbell, it's still a total mystery. From what I've gathered, we might be looking at week 6 or 7 before we see Campbell out there. Maybe even later, and that's tough, especially considering what we saw last year with Dean. He needed some time before he fully got going, and by the time he found his groove, the Eagles had already dropped games to the Falcons and Saints. Games that might have gone differently with a healthy, reliable linebacker in the middle. That's the concern, and that's why Campbell's status is easily one of the biggest OTA storylines next week. Now, as for Dean, there's been a little more positive buzz. Somebody messaged this on Twitter and it made the rounds, but yeah, Nakobe Dean accepted the invite to Devonta Smith's celebrity softball game. That's not nothing. It doesn't mean he's sprinting or cutting at full speed, and it definitely doesn't mean he's 100% cleared for action. But it's a good sign. It means he's active. It means he's engaged. It means he's at a point in his rehab where he feels confident enough to show up and maybe play a little ball. Now, let's not get carried away. Last year, at that same softball game, a lot of players were just jogging around, barely trying. It's more about presence and camaraderie than competition. Unless you're Isaiah Rodgers, of course. That guy was going full speed, winning the home run derby, diving in the outfield like it was Game 7 of the World Series. But most guys, they're just out there for fun. Dean could show up, hang out at first base, maybe jog to the plate once or twice. But the point is, he's out there. No brace, no setback. That's what matters right now. So let's wrap this up with where we stand. Jihad Campbell. Still a wait and see, and OTAs will tell us a lot. Nakobe Dean, trending up, not fully cleared, but moving in the right direction. If even one of those guys is ready to go week 1, it could mean everything for the Eagles defense. If both are back, watch out, NFL. What do you think the Eagles should do if Jihad Campbell misses the first month of the season? Should Jeremiah Trotter Jr. get the start? Should Philly add a veteran? Drop your take below, and let's talk linebacker strategy before OTAs kick off. So yeah, it's a positive. No question. The fact that Nakobe Dean is even showing up, walking around, and staying engaged with the team is a great sign. And given how serious his dislocated knee was, and how late in the season it happened, even being active in the spring is something to feel good about. But here's where we pump the brakes just a little bit. This injury was billed as a major setback, and when you suffer that kind of damage late in the year, it usually points to a longer rehab window. That's just reality. Now, with modern medicine, the outlook has changed dramatically over the past decade, and that's encouraging. There was a time, not too long ago, when an ACL or Achilles tear meant missing a year and hoping to feel normal again by year 2. But now, things are evolving. NFL recovery timelines are accelerating. Aaron Rodgers has talked about this a lot. Love him or not, and he's right. Physical therapy, rehab science, and surgical techniques have advanced to the point where we're seeing stronger, more explosive returns. Players bounce back faster. They're more confident. They're getting back to form. ACLs and Achilles injuries aren't the career killers they once were. So yes, there's reason to believe Dean could get back on the field early. But the real question is, how close to 100% will he actually be? If Dean starts training camp on the PUP list, physically unable to perform, that wouldn't be shocking. That's just teams being cautious, giving their guys the extra ramp-up time. The key isn't whether he's active in July, it's how he looks by October. And when he does return, what will he look like? Will it be a version of Dean operating at 70% capacity, slowly climbing back over the course of the season? Or can he get close to pre-injury explosiveness earlier than expected? Let's be honest, for most players coming off serious knee injuries, the second season back is where they finally look like themselves again. The Eagles know this, and it's probably why they brought in guys like Caden Stearns, who suffered a similar injury. But Stearns is a cautionary tale. He hasn't been able to stick anywhere, failed physicals, bounced around practice squads, and ultimately never looked like the player he once was. Different position, yes, but same principle. Recovery isn't always linear. Some guys don't come back, others take time. The Eagles are clearly banking on Dean being in that second group, the ones who fight back and become difference makers again. For now, we celebrate the positives. Dean is ahead of schedule, he's active, he's visible, that's all great. But real expectations, those come later, when he's asked to move, react, and lead again at full speed. And until then, we wait. Hope. That's where we're at with Nakobe Dean right now. Real, grounded hope. We've both said it before. If there's any player who can beat the odds, it's Dean. He's wired that way. He's a leader, a fighter, and a guy who doesn't shrink from adversity. Still, there's no sugarcoating it. It's an uphill climb. But here's the twist. We're about to find out a lot more about Dean's rehab next week. On Tuesday, we'll be standing right next to him at the NovaCare complex for the Philly Dogs Ice Cream Social. And yes, we're absolutely going to ask the question, so Nakobe, what's the timeline really looking like? Now odds are he gives the classic athlete answer, feeling better every day, just taking it one step at a time. But we might try to push just a little. September good or December good? On a scale from 1 to 10, where's your knee at? It might make things a little awkward between the sprinkles and waffle cones. But hey, this is Philly. We ask the hard stuff. Meanwhile, in the world of rule changes, we almost saw the end of the tush push. Garrett dropped a $20 super chat and made a great point. It's not just about the brotherly shove. It's about all the unintended headaches that come with banning it. We're talking slippery slope territory here. Because if you outlaw it, where do you stop? And what's next? Penalizing teamwork. Besides, even if they ban the push, the Eagles have always had a brutally effective basic QB sneak game. Back in 2021, before the shove was even a thing, they were converting at 92.9% on those short yardage sneaks. That's elite. I actually threw some of those clips on the show today. Even without the push, Jalen Hurts just barrels forward. Low pad level, decisive movement. The offensive line does the rest. It's not magic. It's just execution. Someone should do a full study, break down exactly where Hurts is on the field before the push happens. Sometimes he's already nearly a full yard past the line before anyone touches him. Other times he needs the shove to finish the job. Even if the success rate dips a few points, say from 94% to 87%, it's still better than just about every team in the league. So yeah, maybe the NFL had second thoughts. Maybe they realized that outlawing a play that symbolizes perfect synchronization between quarterback, line, and scheme isn't the right look. 'Cause whether it's September or December, whether it's Hurts behind center or Dean prowling the second level again, this team has a DNA built around grit, timing, and trust, and you don't ban that. It's not just Jalen Hurts. It's not just the shove. The real cheat code. Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, and either Cam Jurgens or Jason Kelsey. That trio, especially that dominant left side, has created so much raw power and leverage that the Eagles could have converted quarterback sneaks without any help from behind. We've seen it time and time again. Landon Dickerson locks in. Mailata plows through like a snowplow, and suddenly there's just a void, a clean gap for Hurts to drop into. It's beautiful in a brutal kind of way. The kind of trench warfare that defines real football. Even if the push got banned, this line still converts 90% of the time. Easy. Dean Blandino, former NFL Vice President of Officiating, weighed in not long ago. He's not a fan of the tush push, and not because it's unfair, per se. His issue? Optics. He doesn't love what it looks like, the pileups, the leverage wars, the rugby comparisons. But even Blandino admits something crucial. Just because one team does it incredibly well doesn't mean it should be banned. And he's right. Banning something because of dominance opens up a slippery slope. You start policing that play, and suddenly you're questioning every short yardage scrum. What about the 5-yard push piles we see from both teams during goal line stands? Where do you draw the line between teamwork and an illegal advantage? Football is a game of inches, sure, but it's also a game of philosophy. And this play tests both. In the middle of all that talk, someone in the chat, Jorge, dropped a note. This might be Josh Thomas's last ice cream social. That's the business side of the NFL creeping in. Some players are on the bubble. Some might not be around when the next social rolls around. It's lighthearted on the surface, but there's an undertone of reality to it. This time of year is hopeful and brutal all at once. And still, it all comes back to the trenches. Whether it's the tush push or just old-school line dominance, the Eagles have built something special, no matter the rule book. NFL players are human, and when you cover a team long enough, you start to notice who remembers you and who's just trying to get to their locker. We've been around the Eagles enough at this point to have a growing catalog of who's given us a nod and who's looked right through us. Saquon Barkley, total blank stare when we met him during preseason. A Jay Brown, total opposite. We've got the footage. He literally looked over and said, "I know who you guys are." That moment stuck. Then there's Nolan Smith. His people knew us, but Nolan himself? Not quite. And that's fair. Not everyone's online keeping tabs. But it'll be fun to walk into the NovaCare complex this Tuesday and find out if any of the Philly dogs do a double take. Some will probably just give a quick, "Hey." Others might go, "Oh yeah, YouTube guys." Either way, it's part of the experience. And honestly, it's fun. It's another thread in the fabric of this team we've watched up close. Daniel dropped a great comment. In the 2024 offseason, Ringo was starting across from Slay. Eventually, Q won the job. Ringo's not a concern. It's time to show how good he is. Couldn't agree more. Here's the thing. Kelee Ringo was the guy all throughout last year's camp. Every day during practice, if you were watching closely or watching our coverage, you'd know the storyline. It was a constant shuffle across from Darius Slay. They had Quantez Stiggers, they had Zech McPherson, and they had the rookie Quinion Mitchell. But through the first chunk of training camp, Ringo was getting most of the reps. It was Ringo, Ringo, Ringo over and over. Then, almost out of nowhere, it shifted. 2 or 3 weeks into camp, the tone changed. Quantez started taking the first team reps. Suddenly, the rotation favored someone else. Ringo didn't fall off a cliff, but the competition got hotter, and the Eagles leaned into it. Now, this offseason becomes a proving ground. Ringo has all the tools: length, speed, toughness. What he needs now is confidence, clarity, and a consistent role. We'll see him up close on Tuesday. It's a massive moment for him, because with a wide-open CB room, a strong impression this summer could turn into a starting job by September. He's no longer a curiosity. He's expected to compete, and this time we'll be watching every snap and every rep again. It started with Zay getting most of the reps in practice. For a while, it looked like he was the guy. But then things changed. Suddenly, it was Q who was getting those key reps, especially at the end. And you know what? That might have been for a reason. The coaches probably wanted to see what Q could really do in a real game, not just in practice. And when Q got his shot in that preseason game against New England, wow, he showed out. He was fantastic. He looked sharp, fast, and confident, like he belonged out there. After that performance, it almost felt like the team realized, hold on, maybe Q has been the better option all along. But let's not forget, earlier on, it seemed like Kelee Ringo was actually winning the battle. He was the one making noise in camp, and that matters because now he has another year under his belt. He's had time to grow, to learn the system, and to improve his game. Sure, he's had some ups and downs, some flashes of greatness, and some moments where he faded. But look at Nakobe Dean's path. He also had his struggles early on. Then last season, boom, he broke out and played like a Pro Bowler. If Ringo can take a similar leap this year, if he can put it all together, then watch out. He's got everything you want in a top-tier cornerback. Size, speed, physicality, instincts, it's all there.